Hey guys, welcome back. So today I am doing a draw my life video. Now, I never thought that I would be at the point where I would have to do one of these. Not that I have to, or it's any really big milestone other than it's been 2 years on YouTube. And if you haven't been with me in the 2 years of me being on YouTube, sorry if the chair creaks through this. This is going to be kind of like a podcast almost. Not really, because it's a draw my life video. But if you haven't been with me in the last 2 years and you are interested in being in my next 2 years or however long you want to be with me, consider subscribing. Comment below, like this video, click the links in my description. Whatever you're interested in, do it because you only live once and YOLO. But today, we're going to be doing a Draw My Life video. So let's get into it. I was born on Sorry, I clapped. So I was born in January 26, 2000 in Garden City, Michigan, in Garden City Hospital. I was born into a family of three, making me the fourth person. It was my brother, my dad, and my mom in the house. Now, we lived over in Detroit, but for some reason, Garden City seemed closer. That hospital, for some reason, seemed closer. Now, I say Detroit, but it wasn't really the big, huge, ghetto city of Detroit. Now, some people probably got offended because I said ghetto, but whatever. It was just Detroit enough to be Detroit, I guess, because we were suburbs and that was what it was classified back then. We lived there for a good minute, and then we had to move because either the neighborhood was a little sketchy or we couldn't pay our payments or something to the sort of that. So we moved out of there and moved to Redford. Now, most of you will probably not know where any of these places are at, but if you guys are interested, Google it because, I can only draw so much. But I probably will end up drawing this much because that is one of my hidden talents. I can draw. But we didn't stay long. We were only there for maybe 6 to 8 months because of the same reasons as the last house. And so we moved to Livonia. Now, Livonia is fairly decent, I guess. I guess it's probably one of the better places to live at. A little bit more expensive, but they could afford it at this time or that time, whatever time. I had a couple friends in school. Maybe a surprising shocker, but I had some friends. I had my best friend Brett, Cal, and Gabe. Now Gabe, me and I, him and I, we were closer than Brett and Cal, but like I actually hung out with him. He was the first person I've ever actually got to hang out with. We would go to his house and we would play in his basement. We would play red light, green light, where one person would stand at one point and face away and then say red light or green light, and then at one point then they're like green light or red light, and then you know the game. And we would play that with his brother, and then somebody would cheat, and then we all get all mad, and then so on and so on, so on, so on. He had a huge thing for Gremlins, and then I liked Gremlins from that, from hanging out, and he's just a cool dude. So during that time, my brother and I didn't know was that my parents got a divorce, but they stuck around. Stuck? Is that the word? Yes, I think. They stuck around. Yeah. Actually, I think there's a Conan O'Brien thing where they talk about stuck. That's besides the point. So my parents stuck around just because we weren't old enough to understand divorce and like it would screw us up until 2 years later, my mom wanted to move away from my dad. And because she wanted to move away, she didn't want to be without us. And so she took my dad to court to get joint custody, but be the primary parent. Took him to court, and we even talked to the judge. And during that time, my brother and I wanted to be with our mom. And the judge had ruled that my dad was a better caretaker because he was a Detroit fireman, and that my mom was in the process of moving out, which showed them by law that she didn't have a house or a steady income or whatever. However, all that makes sense, but they just deem my dad the better parent. Obviously, my mom was upset about that because that was a huge shocker to everybody. My mom's a lawyer, my dad, my mom. Shocker to everybody. Or at least this is the side of the story that I've heard. My mom moved to her parents' house over on Lake Michigan, over kind of like by Chicago, but not really. Still like maybe still like an hour away from Chicago-ish. But like Lake Michigan, but on Michigan, in Michigan, around Michigan, whatever, Michigan. My mom moved over there, and every weekend since, we had to go on these long car trips from the west side of Michigan to the east side of Michigan. 2.5 hours one way, 2.5 hours the other way. The trips kind of prevented me from being able to hang out with future friends, current friends, so on and so on. So I was kind of like isolated in a way because of that. So when my parents split, my dad found a girlfriend like right after they broke up. Her name was Pauline. Right around the same time, I lost my best friend Gabe. Now, he didn't die, he moved, but might as well have been the same thing. And as a kid, you know, when people move, it's kind of like, where'd he go? I can't find him. Come back. I'm alone. So I lost Gabe, but Pauline came into our lives and she took care of us when my dad wasn't home because he was a Detroit firefighter and he worked 24 hours a day, every other day. I have to explain that. While he wasn't there, she would be home, and every so often my grandparents would be home. When she was around, my brother and I didn't know everything that she actually did for, oh, I mean, we kind of knew, but we didn't know how much she actually did until she was gone and, like, you know, whatever. I wanted her to stay, but she eventually ended up moving out. Yes, she lived with us for a good bit, and she would even do the drives instead of my dad because my dad would work on Fridays or Sundays. You know, she did a lot for my brother and I, and it only took, you know, so long for us to acknowledge that. I mean, I knew it for the last handful of years now, but, you know, it's, you know, worth mentioning that. In the midst of her moving out or whatever, I made a couple friends in school. I met this girl in band class, and no, this is not going to be, this is my first girlfriend video or whatever. I met this girl in band class, and she was a new student, new girl, came from, God, if you're watching, not God, but if she's watching this and she's like, hey, you're supposed to know, I honestly don't know. You've told me a whole lot of information since we first met, and I don't remember that. But she came from a longer ways away. She actually sat right next to me in band class, and that was our first class together. That was the only seat that was open, you know. The you know, the weird kid, random, lonely, no friend person sitting by himself with empty seats around him, you know, and then the new girl sits by him. Classic. We actually hit it off. We became good friends after that, and we were pretty much best friends. And, you know, I was there in her low moments, and I was there with, or she was there in my low moments, and I was there for her low moments. And we were kind of inseparable for a minute. Yeah, there had been thoughts of maybe trying to date her, but, you know, it doesn't work out because friend zones happen. And then I met a couple other people who I'm close with, but I'm not going to get into stories about them because then this video would be either too long or too short. I also wasn't the most popular kid in school. I wasn't the most, not talkative, but like I wasn't the most likable person because I was outcasted. And I even tried becoming friends with the outcasts, and I was outcasted by the outcasts. So, I'm an outcasted outcast? I don't know. But during school, I wasn't very popular or very not well liked because, I made acquaintances with people from, different groups like football players, cheerleaders, the nerds, the geeks, the emos, every form of type of person in school, but I didn't stick anywhere. Stuck, whatever. I I didn't stay anywhere. I didn't fit in. And that's just kind of like how I feel, and that's just kind of what my life was during school, which I'm, very grateful for the friends that I've made along the way. But, even nowadays, life happens and people grow, and people don't respond as much as they used to, and nowadays it's just kind of lonely. Not to sound like that guy or anything, but shit happens. During the time of my parents' split started my depression because I couldn't hang out with people, didn't have friends, and I do blame it on the divorce and the split and the inability to hang out with people. I ended up seeing a therapist for that for a good handful of years now. So then all of that brings me to 2012. My mom had been kind of dating around, trying to find somebody new in her life, and met this guy online. They went on a handful of dates. We met him. My mom liked him so much, and he liked her so much, that she wanted to move in with him. So instead of it taking 2 hours to get to one parent, it now took us like an hour. And about 6 years later, they ended up getting married, and they not recently, but 3 years ago, ended up having another child. And another thing that happened in 2012 was, with moving over here, there were some neighbor boys that were about our age, and we ended up being friends with them. I will card the video talking about me and Dawson's relationship, our YouTube relationship, and our explanation and all of that right there. Now I'm here on this channel, and I graduated 2 years ago, and my life has still been shit. But yeah, so that's my life. Not a lot has happened, but a lot has happened. If you guys want to know what has happened to me in the last 2 years with being on YouTube, I have a playlist that's pretty much like a timeline of events that has happened. I've had a cat die. I've worked at different jobs that have fallen through. I had developed a gambling issue. I have been catfished. I have a handful of other things. And if you guys are interested, click the link over here, or the card over here, and go check that out if you guys are interested in whichever video you're interested in. And yeah, it's been 2 years on YouTube, and I'm just happy that I'm able to do what I like. And yes, I'm not a huge channel, and yes, I know I don't make any money off of it, but if I enjoy the content, then I guess that's all that matters. But also, more importantly, if you guys enjoy the content, like and subscribe. Comment below how you guys are doing, what you guys thought. Do you guys want to see me do more animation type stuff? Do you guys want me to talk more about my life? Do you want me to play more game? Just comment below what you guys want me to do, and I will more than likely comment back, because I don't think anytime soon I'm gonna blow up and not be able to talk back to you guys in a good way. Not like talk back and be mean, but you know what I mean. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next 2 years, or for another 2 years, whatever you want to say, and I'll see you guys for the next 2 years. Bye.